Hey everybody, Scott Stevens here. Let's do a little weather real quick before we kind of bring this to a close for about 3 weeks, back towards the Christmas, certainly by New Year. I got to do a little bit of traveling. That's going to mean some of this equipment is not going to be with me in the way I'd like it to have proper continuity. Maybe it'll change, but maybe not. Just wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up. I go through all these Twitter stories and I'm like, this is cool. And they're gone. They're just gone. I haven't figured out where they went to what. That's why I'm like 2 minutes late. So we're just gonna skip that part. What I did see was, hey Tracy, was great snows, Southern California, ski resorts, 16 inches, Squaw Valley, so forth. All those, not quite much farther south than, say, Fresno or Sequoia National Park. But north of that, the snows were good. So we got another little blanket of the white stuff up high. What else was there? Far northern Alaska, what used to be called Point Barrow, saw its last sunshine today for a while. There's a great gif of that. The sun skimming the horizon. I don't know where it all went. So we're seeing summertime taking hold in the southern hemisphere, but up north, that last bit of sun is there until like middle of January. So sunset. That was a cool gif. Maybe you'll find it. And no, it's gone. I don't know where it went. Anyway, you can like things and then technology, it just didn't remember it. Anyway, let's get to this. For the folks in Hawaii in the 50th state, I got a deep little low. We had this nice high over there, providing you guys with the better part of 8, 9, 10 days of just beautiful, beautiful weather. Now there's a little bit of a low here. And the eastern part of it, the southern, is past, but we have this little curl, this little curlicue that happens as the low kind of folds back on itself in the core of the storm, and that's what's giving the islands, at least the western portion of the islands, some good thunderstorms. Drought has been an issue. Let's look at that just because. Drought monitoring, let's look at the Hawaiian Islands. Yeah, you can see most of them are in some stage of drought. So this storm out here in the Western Islands, west of Maui, that is a bonus. This needed to happen. All right, come along. Iota kind of just dissipated. It didn't survive the isthmus of Honduras and through Central America. That baby's gone. It was a big, big rainmaker. I had great video from that. I don't know where that went either. So that's out of here. Lots of showers to the Mountain West, some good thunderstorm passages. My brother's out in the Boise area, and he said, look at this shelf cloud, Scott. I had that on Twitter too. It's gone. So that thundercloud right in through there, passed overhead. Another one on the eastern side of the state, but just some good snows in these mountainous terrainy areas. That's just so needed. Fresno is about as far south as the substantial moisture got. I've got to recycle this, and then I'll be able to move the map. A tenth to about an eighth of an inch. But south of that, there just wasn't a whole lot of water that fell. So Sequoia National Park was about as far south as we're able to get that measurable precip. But the farther north we go, through Yosemite, upwards of an inch, which means in the higher elevations, we're talking probably a foot of snow, if not more than that. And it's tough when the snow falls on these I want to say commercial grade. They're commercially for sale, but they're for individual weather users who would like to spend upwards of US, maybe $100 to $300. Most of them fall in the 150 or under price range, and you get a lot of tech banged in that. The quality is good enough. It's not commercial grade, but one thing it cannot do is measure snow. That takes the human touch. You've got to go out with a stick, a ruler stick, and then you're able to get those measurements. But it just does not make it doesn't make the internet. The little tipping gauge inside that bucket has got to do the back and forth, either to catch hundredths of an inch or millimeters, one or the other. And if the snow is piling up on the instrument and not melting, then obviously this guy isn't going to tick, and we're not going to see the moisture. And sometimes these stations where we see a transition from rain to snow will stop as soon as the temperature drops below freezing, and then we stop the melting, and then the tipping bucket tends to seize up in place. And when it gets above freezing, it collects what happened, what else has fallen. The other side of it is, if it's windy, it completely misses the bucket itself. And so we have gross underestimations from this grade of instrumentation than we would from professionals. But still, there's some good rains. And considering as intense as a fire season as it was from east of Stockton, the mountains doing between 1 to probably 3 inches moisture. There's a 3+ east of Sacramento. And as we get farther north, it just the totals pop on up there. So this is really, really good news. And it'd be nice to have it farther south, but it just isn't. It's just the way it is right now. Even into Washington, up into British Columbia, good moisture. And then now we're beginning to see some snow in the lee sides, Edmonton, Calgary, Canada. And again, because it is so cold, let's pop over here to temperature. Fahrenheit readings right here. It'd be crazy if it was Celsius or centigrade. It's cold, so there's nothing melting in these gauges. And that's just kind of the way it is in the West. Where have we seen some warm temperatures? The middle of the nation, where the south winds are certainly in place. 60 outside of Amarillo, 64 Oklahoma City. New England in store for a cold, cold night. Looks like Saratoga Springs at about 18. You pop into Albany, the capital district. Come in here a little bit closer. There's Schenectady, Niskayuna at about 20 degrees. So whatever is falling is not melting, and those folks love to use chemicals on the road. So it's a salty, it's just a grimy night for the transmissions and the undercarriages of the cars. All right, temperatures, record highs tomorrow. I'm going to refresh this just to see if I can't get the 0Z cycle in. There it is. So we're looking at even up to Omaha. Look at that, 73 degrees tomorrow. That ties a record set of 73 back in 07, but their period of record all the way back to 1871. And outside of that, it's just... there's not a whole lot of record heat. 93 at Tucson and Sabino Canyon, Arizona. -4 at Mount Washington, New Hampshire, as they stand up there at about 5,000 foot high. Seriously, guys, the National Hurricane Center has an area, granted the formation chance low through 10% out through 5 days. Nevertheless, these folks have had enough. It has been a long enough winter, or long enough tropical season down in the Caribbean and the Atlantic. It has just been one literally for the record books. It's been that intense. Beautiful conditions outside of the cold through New England, all the way through the southern tier of the states, hanging in there in the Pac Northwest, where the snows are continuing, the rains and snows pressing ashore. Some rain with these kind of temperatures. What are those temps? Let's look at that up into the Fargo area. I'm going to zoom back out. Hey, let me do that. Come in here to Fargo. So we're looking at least in the 40s, 41, 39, Grand Forks. So it's not a bad mid to late November evening as we get up into the Dakotas, into the northern Dakotas. Some rain snow mix in and around Salt Lake, Ogden, Logan, Cache Valley, northward towards maybe Soda Springs, Idaho. We'll pop up here, see how far up north that goes. Yeah, through Pocatello, and then into the mountain terrains of Wyoming. It's so dry over there. There's these mountain ranges ring out storm after storm after storm. It just, the best are the coastal ranges. The next day, I've got the Great Basin from Nevada, eastern or western Utah, and then even the eastern side of Oregon and Washington. It's just so dry. The atmosphere really can't recover after having to cross these tall mountain ranges, and it's that way everywhere. You could have a continent like Australia, ring it with mountains, and the inner bowl is a desert. It can't help it. The moisture just not enough gets there, except for the warm season where it takes some time, you saturate the atmosphere, and then you can turn it over with thunderstorms. So those were our late afternoon temperatures. Now we've cooled off a little bit, even some 30s down into Georgia. So a cool night down there with strong winds. Let me zoom out here. Zoom out, strong winds coming through Texas, Oklahoma, and this warm front racing northbound across Iowa. So they're having a good night to be out on the town. Does that still happen these days? Can you go out, say Omaha? I had such a great time when I had that job in Omaha, but that was the late 80s. It was kind of a cool town. All right, let's do the forecast, pop into here, and here's our storm along the west coast, bringing those rains to California. Yeah, it's just this ripple. It's just this divot in the jet stream. That's all it is. East of that, we've got a nice ridge of high pressure, and then a whole conveyor belt of cold air pouring out of Canada across New England. The jet stream goes kind of zonal, meaning cold to the north, mild to the south, and kind of flat. And that really takes out the ability of storms to develop. When there isn't any curvature, there isn't any vorticity. That's that twist in the atmosphere that allows storms to form. You've got to have twisting. You've got to have curvature. It gets things excited. Curves do that. And then another storm coming out of the north kind of on Monday, Tuesday. That slips off to the east. The ridge reestablishes itself out west across Thanksgiving weekend. And then it may open up for a little activity. And this has been interesting. For about a day now, we've seen a storm developing. Nope. This time the model completely sweeps it off to the east. That's unfortunate because Chihuahua, the state northern New Mexico, could have used the water. I'll show you what it looked like this morning. And this generated a really pleasant, if you like winter, and I'm sorry, I kind of do, storm across. Maybe I need to go all the way back to 6Z, which would have been the midnight run stateside. And then that would allow for a good snowfall across the state, across the southwest. All right, looks like my internet is just kind of zonked out. It's just something's amiss. Okay, I'm going to finish this because that's going to be the end for a couple of probably upwards of probably the better part of a month, to be honest with you. Going home for a while. My mom's not doing so well, so I'm going to take off here very shortly and go spend some time with her. She's winding down. Honestly, she's winding down, and I haven't seen her in a couple of years, so it's time. And I'm her oldest son, so I kind of have to do that. It's a responsibility. All right, guys, have a great night, and I'll catch you on the flip side. I'll leave an announcement out there to let you know when we return and how that all plays out. And let's see who's on. Where are we? Success Secrets. Good. That's probably you, Tracy, hanging in there. And then one on my page. So good to see you. Have a great night. And love you all. You've been good. Yeah, my mom is my sweetie. If you didn't see a picture of her, I can pop that up. That's on the other side. And maybe there. Nope. Let's cancel that. Let's change that source. And stop screen share. Share screen share. There. Share. There's my mom. And let's go present. So this was actually her wedding day with my dad. I kind of look like I'm looking like my dad. That's kind of scary. He's been gone for 20 years now, so she's been by herself in many ways. A lot of family around. I'm the oldest of 7. That's my youngest brother Todd, and then 2 of my sisters, and then Lisa's middle child, actually youngest child. Crazy. And then my sweet mom, who's just coming up on 75. All right, guys. Yeah, I'll see you when we get back. Much love to you and all you've done for us, Tracy. All right, guys. I'll catch you then, and I'll be in touch. Have a great night. In the meantime, keep looking up.